It is 6:06. Okay, all right, thank you for coming, for our first budget town hall for the fiscal year 23-24. I am Rasha Camo, your new city manager. With me, the team that's going to be presenting the budget is Ms. Anisha Daniel, our deputy city manager, Ms. Angela Reyes, our interim budget director, Ms. Indira Vidasi, our assistant budget director, and the other support staff. I'd like to acknowledge Madam City Clerk, Ms. Vanessa Joseph, here in the audience that's in attendance, as also a resident will be asking a lot of pertinent questions, I'm pretty sure. Councilman Charles will be coming. He's coming late because he's working, teaching, and he has to come from downtown. So he'll be arriving a little bit late. Also, just for everybody else, we're gonna have this show again tomorrow at the Scott Galvin Center at 6 o'clock. Then on Monday at Griffin Park, and on Tuesday, the 29th at the North Miami Library. Right, Paul? All right. Through the presentation that Ms. Reyes is going to do, and I'm going to participate in the conversation as well and answer questions. And Anisha also is going to be presenting some parts of it. And in this presentation, we're doing something new. We are doing surveys, right? So whether you're watching us via Zoom, online, or in person, we're going to show you a QR code and something to text. And we're trying to get some information. We want to get some feedback from you so we can have more information to give to the mayor and council when they're making their decisions. Another thing that I want to bring up is this, when I started working for the city, the budget cycle had already started. Next fiscal year, while we're working on the budget, we're going to do it a little bit different, where we're going to have the budget town halls February and March, so that we can talk to you a little bit more and tell you where we are in the budget, mid-year evaluations, our potential projections, and what exactly would be your priorities. Because right now what we're doing is we're presenting you a budget that we've already been working on. So having that conversation with you early on, February, March, and also relating that conversation to the mayor and council, because the departments work on their budgets as of February and March already. So for us to be in sync, we want to fix the schedule. So we will probably have other town hall meetings after, especially with the budget hearings. But as of next fiscal year, we're going to start officially with the budget town hall meetings, February, March, like we're doing right now, but in February, so we can get feedback and more on the priorities that you need us to focus on. We understand what the priorities are, but more importantly, we want to make sure that we're still focusing on what the community wants us to focus on, right? So we want to reaffirm that to make sure that we're still on the right track. And if we need to invest more money, less money, or add additional resources, that's how we get the feedback. Okay. So I'm going to let Ms. Reyes start. Yep. And I'll be right here.
Thank you, City Manager. Good evening. My name is Angela Reyes, and I am the interim budget director. Thank you to the staff that helped me put this together. Throughout the presentation, we will be going through the mayor and council priorities, the fiscal year 23 and 24 to 24 budget timeline, the millage rate, the ad valorem revenue, the adopted budget history, the fiscal year 23 and 24 budget assumptions, the proposed revenues, as well as the proposed expenditures and the general fund summary, and the fiscal year 2023 to 24 capital projects. Deputy City Manager will be going through the fiscal year 23-24 enterprise fund water system rates, the sample utility rates, and we'll take you through the fiscal year poll questionnaires. City Manager will then walk you through fiscal year 23-24 administration priorities and fiscal year 23-24 administration grant funding requests. And at the end, you'll see the next town hall meeting schedules. So here we have a city map showing the council districts for North Miami, where you are being represented by Councilman Charles in District 4 here. The mayor and council have a set of priorities, and as a part of our budget development process, we had a mayor and council budget retreat earlier this year where they expressed some of their top priorities, which is what we're showing now. Some of them being financial stability, economic development, affordable housing, resiliency programs, providing a new water plant, parks renovations, providing a 5-year strategic plan, a downtown redevelopment, a Northwest 7th Avenue redevelopment, centennial activities, providing a smart city, and citywide events, to name a few. The budget timeline. So our budget timeline this fiscal year began primarily in June when we received a preliminary tax roll from the property appraiser's office. On July 1st, the certified tax roll was received from the property appraiser's office. On July 11th, the tentative millage rate and budget, and the budget public hearing dates were set by council. July 12th, the fiscal year 2022 budget workshop was presented to council. And now we're at August, where on August 24th, the tax notices will be mailed out to homeowners. And throughout the last 2 weeks of August, which we're now in, we'll be having our proposed budget town hall meetings. And finally, in September, on September 5th, we have the first budget public hearing where the ceiling for the millage rate is approved. And September 19th, the second budget public hearing takes place and the millage rate is adopted. So this year, for the proposed budget for fiscal year 23-24, we will be remaining at the same millage rate at 7.4. So the millage rate has remained the same, which is used to calculate property taxes based on the assessed value of real estate. The millage rate is equivalent to 1/10 of a dollar. From every dollar, Miami-Dade County keeps 33.71%. The city of North Miami receives 33.25%, and out of that percentage, the 33.25, 1/3 is paid to the CRA. The school board receives 29.61%, and the Children's Trust and other funds receive 3.42%. So now we bring it home to what those percentages actually really mean to the city. Based off the 7.4 millage rate, the city of North Miami will receive approximately $36 million, in which 1.8 is discounted on taxes for early tax payments from our residents. About 12 million is paid to the CRA, leaving the city of North Miami with 24.5 million to the general fund. Now we're getting into the budget, and we're going through the history of the adopted budget, where it shows in 2019-2020, which is pre-pandemic, we were at $179.5 million. And you can see throughout the next 3 fiscal years, how COVID really impacted our numbers, where for fiscal year 23-24, our proposed numbers are at 178.5 million, which is reaching pre-pandemic numbers. We're getting back to that point. Our budget assumptions include the millage rate of 7.4. While we're still providing the same level of service as previous years, we take into consideration that the collective bargaining agreement has increased 3% merit and 3% COLA. and 5% merit and 4% COLA for the PBA, yes. Due to the economic cost of living and all these increases, the healthcare insurance has increased by 10%, FRS has increased by 14%, and general liability and property insurance has also increased by 20%. This will be the first year that we are putting away some reserves, so where we're not at the $5 million mark, we are at the $2.5 million mark this year. We have not done any reductions on full-time personnel. We are implementing a new ERP and CRM system. Our city events are coming full circle, and there is an increase to our water and sewer fees and sanitation rates. Our fiscal year 23 and 24 proposed revenues are $178.5 million. So you have two funds generally. The proprietary funds make up 54.4%. That proprietary fund is made up of enterprise, internal services, special revenues, and all other funds outside of the general fund. The general fund makes up 45.6% of the entire budget. The revenues of our general funds are comprised of 30% ad valorem taxes, 26% is transfers and others. Transfers and others are comprised of ARPA transfers and administrative reimbursements from enterprise departments. 20% is miscellaneous revenues, which are investment revenues, rents, leases, CRA reimbursements, insurance recoveries, and any other additional funds. And 12% is from the intergovernmental revenue state sharing, where it's half-cent sales tax and alcohol licensing. And 8.7% is charges for services that are comprised of election services, passport fees, liens, zoning reviews, off-duty services, sanitation fees, lot clearing, parks and library fees, just to name a few. The local option gas tax is general sales taxes, code citations, the magistrate and tickets are within fines and forfeitures. Our fiscal year 23-24 proposed expenditures are also $178.5 million, where you see we do have a balanced budget. 45.6% are general fund expenditures, which we'll go through on our next slide. Just keep that in mind. 37.6% is enterprise funds, which is made up of the water and sewer, the water, fire, flow, and stormwater. 8.5% is special revenue funds made up of ARPA, building, landfill closure, library state aid, pension, and the bond. 4.2% are internal service funds made up of risk management and fleet management. 3.1% is transportation, and we do have a 1% debt service. Now we're going to go back to that 45.6% of the that the general fund makes up, and this is a list of where that money does go to by department. So you see that almost 40% of it goes to police, which is what helps keep us safe. And the rest is spread amongst the rest of the departments. Mayor and council is 2.1 million, city manager 2.6 million, city clerk is 799,000, finance is 3.5, city attorney is 1.4, personnel is 823,000. IT or information technology is 2.7 million. Our police makes up 33.4 million. Community planning and development is 2.1 million. Public works is 3.2 million. The office of management budget is 720,000. Parks and recreation is 9.2 million. We have, MOCA, our Museum of Contemporary Art, at 1.4 million. Our neighborhood service department, formerly known as Code, at 6.1 million. The library is at 1.2 million. Purchasing is 596,000. Housing and social services is at 1.5 million, and your citizens investigation board is 476,000. All of this comprises of the personnel, operations and internal services, grants and aid, and reserves and others. And now to our capital projects. The city of North Miami is looking forward to continuing the development of our city through our capital projects. 20.09 million is dedicated to continuing capital projects such as the ERP Tyler implementation, the police station and city hall improvements, stormwater master plan, fuel and air compressor replacements, various parks and recreational upgrades, fleet vehicle replacement, sidewalks, traffic calming device replacements, resurfacing, lift stations, sewer, water, main rehab, and water line and meter reader replacements. And we are looking to start new projects to go into our next presentation by the Deputy City Manager, where she will start to talk about our water and sewer rates.
So thank you, Angela, for that presentation. So the slide you have before you reflects your 23-24 enterprise funds, water and sewer. I'm sorry. Oh, that's great. Hello, everyone. Anisha Daniel, for those that are on the presentation via Zoom, Deputy City Manager for the City of North Miami. So I'm about to go through the next couple of slides. The current slide before you is our fiscal year 2023-24 enterprise fund water sewer rates. So a couple of years ago, back in 21, Black and Beach did a study to project our overall costs for our water system. What that does is it looks at all of our operating costs, our capital costs, so that we can actually project the rates. And based on that study, it projects that the year 2022 through 2027, we needed 6% increase over the next couple of years, and sewer 9% and 8.75 in order for us to increase the numbers of the revenue for our water system. However, we did not increase the fee last year. So unfortunately, we have to actually kind of fluctuate that out for the next couple of years so that we can actually cover our costs. So in order for us to smooth that out, for year 2022 through 2029, we're smoothing that out by showing 6% in water and 9% in sewer for a combined increase of 7.5%. That allows us to continue the capital infrastructure for our system and to provide the water that we need for our system. I also want to make sure it's mentioned or you understand that while we have a plant that actually has the capacity to produce over 9 million gallons a day, because the plant needs to be replaced, it is a very old plant. I believe it was built probably 50 plus years ago. We're not able to produce water at the full capacity. So we're only able to produce about 5 million gallons a day, a little over that, which will cause us to purchase the rest of the water from Miami-Dade County at a premium price, may I add. We can actually produce the water at our plant for less than $1. We have to buy the water from Miami-Dade County for over $2. So that costs us quite a bit. And what we have in our budget for 2024 is $5.7 million just for us to purchase enough water so that we can have water for all of for our entire system. So it's important, some of the next slides that we're going to talk about,
how we need to move forward and the infrastructure that we need to do in order for us to build up our system and our structure so that we can actually kind of get off of Miami-Dade County and and have our own water to bring our costs down. Next slide. So right here, what you have before you is a sample residential utility rate. That bill that you receive is not a water bill, it is a utility bill. And I say that in emphasis because many individuals say it's my water bill, but on that bill, it has your sanitation and your stormwater fees. And there's your water-based consumption charge, your water-based charge and your consumption, which is your usage, and then your sewer-based charge and your sewer consumption, which is your usage. And then there's a county service fee, and then as I mentioned, your sanitation and your stormwater fee. So what we've done here is to provide you with a sample of what it will look like on an average usage, which is about 5,000 gallons a month. I'm sorry, no, 5,000 gallons a month. And so since we're now on a quarterly system, we've done this based off of 15,000 gallons. So at 15,000 gallons, you look at the quarterly structure here, you see $44.85, $33.98, $62.69.12, for a total when you add your sanitation at $106 a quarter and your stormwater for $21 a quarter, your average quarterly bill is about $350 quarter for those fees. This is what an average family would pay. What we're going to do on the polls is ask you a couple of questions about if we were to take that from quarterly to monthly. So what that would allow us to do, or allow you to do, is to see that quarterly fee go down to $14.95 for your water-based charge and $11 and so forth, all the way down from $350 to $116.85. So monthly, a much smaller number based on your usage. And then further, we're going to have another question. So there's 3 poll questions. First question is going to ask you, would you like to keep it the same way that it is, the current system as it is, which is quarterly? There's going to be a second question. And that second question is going to ask, would you like to keep everything on, which is that $100,000? Or would you like for that bill to remove the sanitation and stormwater fee off and only be a water bill, and it would include only those charges for $74.35. That's based on 5,000 gallons a month. But then the sanitation and the stormwater will be an annual charge on your property taxes. Now, many municipalities do this currently. Miami-Dade County does this. And there's a proposed annual sanitation fee on your property tax bill and your stormwater fee at $85.44 a year, and the sanitation at $424.50 a year, for a total of $510. So these are some choices. These are things that we want to get your input so that we can understand what's important for you and what makes sense for you. So I'm going to stop here before I move to the next slide.
There's an additional expense that we have to incur to create that plan for.
Yes, yes. The manager did mention another important point. So right now, on a quarterly system, our finance department, we have meter readers. Right now we have three meter readers for the entire city because they're reading the meters quarterly. And so when they're reading them quarterly, it allows them to kind of space that out. If we go to the monthly system, it's going to be another $500,000 to $600,000 because we will do this every month. I would also have to produce a bill every month. However, part of our capital infrastructure changes is AMI, which is automated meter infrastructure. Many of the municipalities have done it. We're trying to get there. We're trying to move towards infrastructure and be a smart city. What an automated meter infrastructure does is it allows you to have a meter in use have the power in your hand where you can see your usage. And many of you probably have seen it with FPL, where you have a dashboard and you can actually monitor your usage for your FPL chart usage. And so then you know, I'm using too much water, turn it off. Somebody used my water, somebody left the water hose on because too much water is going out yesterday or the day before. So it allows you to actually change your behavior and monitor the behavior for your usage. So what we're proposing, what we would do if we were to move monthly, we will speed up the AMI implementation so we would not have to actually go to hire additional staff to read the meters, and then we'll go ahead and move on with the AMI implementation. Something we're doing anyway, but we will expedite that and move it a lot quicker. That also allows you to actual things on the dashboard. I've seen it in many other municipalities where they have that dashboard and there's educational information. Turn-ons are a lot easier whether you want to do a turn-on. Everything is right at the fingertips. So we're trying to get to be that smart city automated. So I just want to make sure that I have that information. You have that information and understand some of the pros and cons and what it means for us as a smart city, what this means for us if we're moving towards being a city where we're going to go to multi-building, and how it could have a positive impact, but if we don't have the infrastructure, it can actually hurt us. So I just want to make sure I give you all the information. Sure.
Okay, I have a question about this. The 10-year capital improvement plan, city have their own experts to do a study of the pipes and water here in North Miami.
Yeah.
And also we had this from Public Works, we had come out of home association. 30% of our water has been lost due to aging pipes, like you said, infrastructure, we all know that. So my question is, if 30% of the water has been lost pipes on the ground, the meters, I know nobody reads mine because it's all grass. You can't find grass, dirt. It's and if you go, mostly everybody here can attest to the same thing. They don't know what a meter is because it's all covered over with grass and what have you. When I first moved here 100 years ago, it did work like that, but over the years it just has gotten where it's not. So my question is, if we going to go to those AI meters, the ones with all the technology, what about that 30% that's being lost, in the pipes?
I'm so glad you asked that question. So Ms. Brown, you actually reminded me of something that I did not share. The automated meter infrastructure also has a system that allows us to detect water loss. And so that's another component of the system that is actually helpful. Beyond that, right now, as part of our current year capital plan, we actually have a leak detection program that we're doing. So we're doing leak detection monitoring right now that we've implemented. But beyond that, as we do the AMI, it will actually show us where there is loss, water loss. So that's another thing that will help us in the system with this technology where you're not losing so much water. And so loss of water is dollars down the drain. Another thing I'll share with you, I heard this the other day and I thought it was just phenomenal, and it's really easy and simplistic. Right now, with the meters, they're so old. Meters have a life of 10 years, at least a maximum of 10 years. Many of those meters are very, very old. What happens is, just like your scale in your bathroom or wherever your scale is, it actually is not as accurate as it used to be, so it's degradation. So once you actually get a new meter, you have accuracy with your system. What that also does help with the fact is that if, you know where I'm going, if I gave the three of you a bottle of water, right? And you told me to go buy a bottle of water, 1, 2, 3, bottle of water is $1 a piece. So one would assume that each one you're gonna give me back $1. However, because I don't know exactly how much you drink and how much you drink or whatever it costs, I'm getting $1 from you, but I'm getting 50 cents from you, and I'm getting 75 cents from you. But really, what did it cost me? $3. So who's paying that difference? there is a loss in how we're recovering all of our costs. And what happens is it's costing us more to run our system. So we really need to do better with, by trying to provide better infrastructure, which is what we're trying to do. As you saw on the capital page, right before this page, there is over $20 million in our infrastructure just for next year alone, as a part of our comp plan, which is for it's going out to 2045. We have millions and millions of dollars in our capital infrastructure because they did have to do a infrastructure study to ensure that we have the appropriate infrastructure for our growth in our city. So our budget, our capital budget going outward for the next 10, 15, 20 years, we're preparing and planning for that. Beyond that, we've been applying for every grant you can think of. Every grant that the state and the federal has put out there, we're applying for it, trying to ensure that we can leverage the dollars that we have, because we have more needs than dollars. And we're trying to ensure that the dollars that we do have, that we utilize them as wise as we possibly can, so that we can maximize on everything we can provide for you, to provide you with the best infrastructure for your needs. So what I want to do now is to move you to the poll survey and have you participate with us and answer some questions on your poll. 1 second, Karen. There are QR codes around, and there's a QR code here. So you can either go to the screen and click it. You can go to pollev.com. You can text DCSED search 1 to 22333. The easiest way is to scan. So while our Vanna, Madam Clerk is walking around with the QR code for us, Karen, I'll take your question.
Good afternoon. The third plan, the third proposed plan, how did you guys look into it? Did other municipalities or counties work with that without sanitation and stormwater? And how does it work? Do you think it's a better deal, or before I vote on something, it's working?
Yeah, okay. So several cities and actually the county do that, right? This is a way to manage your finances, right? So again, the water bill is high and you're working on trying to lower it, but in the meantime, we're trying to make it more manageable for the residents. Now, several cities, what they've done is they make an arrangement with Miami-Dade County where the sanitation and the stormwater fee goes on your property tax bill. So it is on your property tax bill. You'll get that amount. You'll have to pay it every time. If you have a mortgage and insurance and property taxes, you know, it's all in there. So you would be paying the monthly bill of $74.35, and then the rest of it, the $510, would be once a year, November, December, when you pay your property taxes. We can't give you an opinion whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, but the reason we're doing it is we're trying to make it more manageable for the residents in terms of paying the water bill, while we're trying to fix the water plant, the infrastructure, and so on and so forth.
So based on the residents here in North Miami, I know it would be better for the homeowner not to use that plan. But if I'm a renter, it will be best for me to put this on the homeowner so they can pay on their taxes. But I know some homeowners gonna fight with this now.
And that is why we're asking you, residents, to vote. And I'd like to also point out that Councilman Pierre from Charlotte is here, came in. I did announce that you were coming in late, Councilman, if you wanted to say a few words. But, and that is one of the things that the councilman, when he first got appointed, he was on us, like, we need to go figure out a way to make it more manageable monthly, and, you know, we need to find ways to prioritize the water plant. And, you know, and Ms. Brown, I think you were there at the council meeting when we approved the $39 million loan that we got from the state to make some improvements to the water plant. But unfortunately, it's not sufficient, right? And the EPA just came up, like 6 months ago, they came up with a new law on some chemicals that we need to be able to test for and filter for. So it's an additional work that we have to do in the water plant, and we're actually going to the state to get some funds to cover that. So in addition to, you know, looking at the infrastructure. So
I'm sorry, before I go, as a renter, I'd like to mention that, you know, they hijack the price on us. So the rent price is crazy. So if they charging me as a homeowner $2,400 for 2 bedrooms a month, they need to take care of that some water and whatever it is. Because if I'm paying $2,400 a month for 2 bedrooms, it's crazy.
The one thing
You
I
know
can,
Miami.
what I can tell you right now is that they're paying it right now anyway in the quarterly bill.
I
They are,
understand.
it's not an additional cost, it is in your quarterly bill right now, we're just trying to make it more manageable.
Right,
So they got it, they can't, they should not,
right.
they should not be charging you.
Yeah, well, it's that, we cannot control as a municipality, we
Yeah.
cannot control it, homeowner and everybody. But they should know, like, do some more workshops so residents can know that their rights.
Mhm.
They can come like meeting like this, they can come in and voice out and then say, what, you're charging me that much, you need to take care of that. So,
The Catholic Charities Legal Services, isn't there something for renters?
Well, I was doing pro bono stuff under.
But isn't there a grant for ARPA?
Yeah, they have some under the state of Florida, so we are pro bono.
Okay. Yeah, we'll make sure that you have it and everybody else has that information. And also Miami-Dade County has a housing troubleshooter person. Cause I got an email one time from
it's not
somebody.
working.
It's not working? Okay, so I'll let them know. But again, Florida, I know Catholic Charities has a program for that. We can refer you to that. But unfortunately, that is the price to pay for capitalism. Like,
I
and the
understand, but
state law has stopped us from even trying to do rent control. All right, we're preempted by the state of Florida.
as long as the
So
residents
municipality can do that.
understand that amount that we have, that'll be enough.
Any other questions before we start asking you to press some buttons? Yes, ma'am.
Oh, you can go to the poll.
Okay.
I mean, the only
Well,
question I
before
have.
you go there, that water plant, now, we paid that water plant 100 times before, that's how we have paid for that, and I know for a fact that, it was ready to go, they got the plans, and about to put the bulldozer on the ground, it was full, stay full of funding, so it's like a cycle, and that was before you become a board, it's like a cycle with this thing, and so now, this money that you got, it's not gonna do enough for that water plant, and our water pressure is low here. It has dropped really low. I can tell when I'm taking a shower. I've been here a long time. Water pressure is low. The quality of the water is not the same because I sit down and I read the book. They send out a book and the quality of water has gone down. Okay, I read through that. All those chemicals and stuff that's in it. We used to have a top-notch water plant when I first moved here, but it's really gone down. So, when you say you have $20,000 and $20 million, other $3 billion, $4 million, that's not gonna, what are you gonna do to the water plant? Because it's almost like a band-aid effect.
So the thing is, that's what I think Anisha was talking about, is it's a multi-year project. We can't fix it in 1 year, we're not gonna fix it in 2 years, but we can, whatever we can fix with the money that we have, we are doing it. One of the improvements is the automated readers. By the way, Anisha did not mention, but we did a pilot program and we had some residents part of it, so we can test it to see the efficacy of it and how it was. So I wish, we know who was on there, Mayor Desume, and he complained the whole time. So we should have had you in there in the pilot. But something like that, going digital is gonna help us a lot because it's gonna help us detect some leaks faster, quicker. We don't have to use outside contractors and so on, because we're always using other third parties to help us with this stuff.
Okay, I don't
So,
want to belabor this, not but are you all gonna get a consulting company that's gonna come and study this again, and we're gonna pay them for $190,000 or $200,000 to
No.
study this, and we pay that, and they will come back, get another company installed, and by the time we get to another budget meeting, it'll be like, we didn't get but a few done.
so the study was already done, and because of that, the Black and Beach report explained to us what our challenge or what we needed to do. So the plan is there, the study's done. We have part of the funds. One of the other issues that I want to mention is, and I'm going to talk about that soon enough, is you pay your water bill, yes, but the multifamily apartment complexes are not paying their water bills timely. And right now, on our financial statements, we have $19 million in receivables out there. So we are now aggressively, again, Councilman Charles was on us about it because you know, residents are paying their water bills, but all these large multifamily apartments and condos are not paying their bills. And so we're gonna go after them. When I say aggressively, we've started already, we've sent them in letters, we've actually disconnected some common areas, so their pool is not getting filled, and the bill got paid. But the rest of that money, what I was saying is that $19 million is the money that's supposed to be invested in the infrastructure. So that was the other bottleneck, right? You can ask for so much money, but if our system itself is not working where we're collecting the money so that we can continue doing the work, then that's where we had a lot of the delays. But that's one of the things, we hired an outside attorney to sue the larger ones, and we're going after, like I said, several of the multifamily properties. They've now come into compliance, they've made deposits, payment plans, and one of them actually overpaid our $21,000, just so they would stop getting, you know, pursued by us. So we're doing that, we're doing a great collection part. So anyway, so let's go.
Actually, 5 people have voted.
5 people have voted. Okay. And did you see the question? So you have A, which is the current situation. C, which is the monthly billing. A would be the current situation, $350.54. That's your quarterly bill average. B would be with the monthly with everything,
Right.
which is $116.85. And C would be just the water and sewer, which is $74.35 on your monthly bill. And then the sand water will be billed annually on your property tax bill. I want to make sure I say this loud. It would be on your property tax bill. You would not be sending another bill. Yes, ma'am.
2 questions, mostly because, Karen raised, the point about, and you started to talk about the strategy for collecting from the buildings. Is the city actually prepared to go the full way, just like litigation, full?
Yes.
of-
Yes, we've already hired the attorney, and we are pressed for time because there is a statutory limitation to when we can, you know, go after them. So we're definitely going after them. What we did do is we started mild, we sent them in letters. And like I said, one of the areas, we just disconnected all their common areas. So not the residential units, but the common areas, the pool, the whatever, other tennis, and then they felt it. And then, so then I will, maybe, it depends on the attorney, but I may disconnect completely just to make the property owner realize that we do mean business, because obviously, you know, we've been carrying this receivable for a few years now. Okay?
That's unheard of. I mean, I really am, because I see residents just crying, they just come in overwhelmed with these bills, and then these people getting money, apartment money, charging us high rent, and then the city has allowed this to run. This is crazy.
But we're working on it, Ms. Brown. That's all I can say is we're working on it. And the council gave us the full support. It was voted unanimously for us to go after them aggressively.
Thank you.
So,
And we're seeing the fruits of the labor. The monies are coming in.
yeah, the money's coming in. Yes, ma'am.
The second question I had was, I mean, the price, the cost is actually still the same across the board in what this figure is showing us, or does this factor in with the cost if we don't transition to AMI?
Well, it includes the 8.5% water rate increase that we have to do, which, by the way, you will be getting a notice in the mail this week because it'll be effective as of October 1st. Again, it was not done this past year, and we're required to do this because it was voted by resolution or ordinance. So it wasn't done this fiscal year, and now, unfortunately, and that's why we spread it over six years to get us to where we need to be. The AMI will help us. I mean, it's gonna help us with the cost, definitely administratively, and the leakages. So once we start hitting all the leaks in the infrastructure, then you're gonna see a shift. It's not gonna be, you know,
So this is
you're not gonna see
just
50% off right away, but
This
it'll
is
be
just-
incrementally.
But this is just looking at, you know, based on the, I guess, based on the scenario we just looked at.
Yeah.
right? This would be the bill.
Yeah.
But it's not factoring anything else, it's factoring, if we just made this transition today, this is what it costs today.
Yes.
Yes, so based on $50,000 gallons of water.
Well,
Yes.
15 gallons of water is quarterly, 5,000 gallon, and again, it's an average family, that, yes, sir. For the record, the library director, Paul Will is speaking on behalf of his parents or residents.
Madam Manager, for the record, is, Paul, Brazil, Director of the Library.
I know, I said that. Yes, sir.
If we do transition to AMI, how long possibly would that take to,
It's we just visited Miami Beach, yesterday, and, Whistler Kill, who is the public works director, was discussing it. It took them 12 to 18 months to get the whole. Now, remember, for us, obviously residents are for everybody first, but we also have clients outside of the city. So we have unincorporated and so on. So obviously preferences would come to residents first, I would assume,
Right.
to be on board first. But 12 to 18 months if we fast track it and like I said, we talked to Miami Beach and saw how they did it. And they all got positive feedback from the employees in terms of the shift and the residents.
And it's a smaller, we're a smaller city. So does it mean
Yes.
Well, but,
or
yeah, we're a
is it-
smaller city, but we have outside, customers, so we have a
No,
little
no,
bit
but I
more
mean,
accounts.
like, so that's factored based on their population of
Yeah.
use.
Yes.
Right, so since we're prioritizing residents, it could in theory be shorter for.
Yeah,
Could-
I get, but it all depends again on the procurement aspect, right? If we're gonna put out the bid, if we're gonna piggyback. And that, at the end of the day, the direction will come from the mayor and council on how quickly they will allow us to pull the trigger. Right? Can we move on to the next?
one other question.
Yes, sir.
The question is, we appear at the meeting, the residents, some of the residents,
Mhm.
we know just about what you're talking about. So, what about other residents? This is the first meeting, right?
This is the first budget town hall.
Right, okay, that's what I'm saying. So what about the other residents that live in District 4, that don't know about the meeting? I mean, it's been sent out to do a good job, but they are not here. So now what happens to them? It's time for, to vote on.
So two things. One, I mean, we did advertise it through the homeowner associations and so on. We have a meeting tomorrow. We have 4 budget town hall meetings. This is the first one. So tomorrow is.
Those persons who live in District 4, they're not coming over to other places where you have meetings. So I'm asking you, how would they get a chance to really vote? Because they don't want to be ready to sing. Because they come to the meeting, they don't want to
Ms.
say, don't quite
Judy
understand.
Brown, whenever you schedule your, association meetings, we're there, just let us know. I don't have
Oh,
any
okay, I
answers to
have
that.
because when that water bill comes out.
I know, right? Yes,
So-
I'm not saying.
I'm wondering if one strategy for outreach, people are already coming to pay their water bill.
Is to have that,
A
yes,
survey.
no, we will, but we wanted to do it right now during the town hall.
No, for sure.
And then when you
But
go,
in response
yeah,
to-
we're gonna have it out, because I need to get a good enough, number, sample to see where the money is. Councilman, I'm sorry.
What I wanted to add into it, by the way, good afternoon now, everybody, Councilman Charles. I have, all the little business that are there. I was teaching at Graduate College, that's the reason why I'm late. When I came on board, the first thing that struck me is like, I have, in that we have with the seniors, we got about 10 of them just come up with a utility bill that is 1,900, 800, and all of them are seeking help from the city. And it is like almost every day. Friday, we'll wake up at the square of the movie, and I got 3 residents for District 4. I got 1,000. So we have to be number one. So we're trying to find some solutions to see if we can ease the pain on our residents. Looking at it, numbers are numbers that can change. So we're trying to see what can be done in a way to make it more manageable for the residents. So looking at all this, is basically presenting the idea. So we are going to have our own meeting. We go around to the homeowners, and also I I can tell you that we're gonna have a town hall in which we are going to present this again to see exactly what the residents want. But moving forward, we need
Would
to
that
find,
be for the budget year?
that's,
This part is not gonna affect the budget.
no,
It's not gonna affect the
not-
budget. But it's gonna affect how we proceed. For instance, if we do decide to do monthly now, we have to reach out to Miami-Dade County and start a process with them in negotiation and agreement and so on and so forth. Before it gets to that point, which would be the following fiscal year. We're just testing the waters to know what would be manageable for you, and what you would like. So I'd like to move on because.
If you allow me to finish,
Yes.
again, one of the best ways for you to force the information, word of mouth. Think about it. We are 20 in here. The one's up to 20. And I'll make it 40. And then we go on and on. He will start learning about it. Now we have that conversation. Moving forward, we will come to the meeting and voice up on some vote as we go in today, and then we can move together. But again, whenever there's a problem, we need to work towards some type of solution. And basically, it's the beginning, this is just the start of it. So that's why it is not something we're just going to push tomorrow, but we need to have that conversation. Thank you, brother.
And my concern is the county. My concern is we are all in this together.
Yes.
And I know this, and you contest me. We start those meetings, and the people see the water going up and stuff like that, they're gonna raise all kinds of sand. And it's gonna be pointed directly at you, in a sense.
Yes.
In a sense, right?
Yes.
So what we're saying,
No, definitely.
let's
No
get the thing done, so
Yeah.
they'll understand, hey, listen, it's not about me, it's about us trying to help one another.
Mhm.
Okay, because we know when you come down to the meetings, it's gonna be something else.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, brother.
Y'all go better front, and you better
And then before we
front.
Before we move on, I just want to mention that the city does offer help for those that are in arrears in their water bill. You have to go to the utility billing department. There are funds available, through ARPA and also through, we have a nonprofit, that collects, in the county to collect funds to help pay for the water bill. It's not a continuum thing, of course, it's a one-time thing, so we can allow for first come, first serve. Who needs help? The second question I have here is actually a plug for myself. I did have a conversation with Ms. Brown earlier. That's one of the things that we're always dealing with. You know, this is the first city I've ever worked in that has weekly bulk pickup for residential, right? In other cities and other places I know, once a month or twice a month, right? Here it's weekly. And my question is, as a resident, how much bulk pickup do you have in your house every week, right? And it would help us to better understand, because one, it's a question of cleanliness for the city, right? So Waste Pro, we have a contract with them, we have 5 more years with them, but the good part about it is we can have conversations like Ms. Brown brought to our attention that the trash wasn't picked up in the area. This week, we brought it to their attention, and now they're gonna be using our Everbridge system, our notification system that we use when we alert residents on road closures or in case of emergency. They're gonna be using that system to notify residents in the area if the trash didn't get picked up and when they're gonna be coming. So that's one thing that we made them do, be part of the notification process. So this for me is another question I'm asking everyone. Would you consider a monthly bulk pickup? Not trash, bulk pickup. Bulk is your furniture, the landscaping, the illegal construction that your cousin dropped off in front of your house. And, the dresser from from all these other things, because it is a question of cleanliness for the city, and it's very hard for our neighborhood services department to be able to regulate and violate the real violators because of the way it is. So that's just a question. It has nothing to do with the budget. I just put that plug in because I wanted to know what you thought. Yes, ma'am.
A question around recycling, because I know that in the past, there's been a lot of concerns that the recycling is, when they pick it up, is actually mixed in with garbage.
Cause it's tainted, so if it's not
Yeah, so
fully clean, they just put it as part of the.
right, so that means that they're taking it. I mean, if they believe that even just like one piece of it is tainted, they're just taking the whole thing and mixing it.
If it's commingled, it's gonna get rejected from the recycling plant.
But they did not do like Dade County has merged 5 things in recycling.
I told them
I
that,
can remember 5.
I just,
Wasteboro does not even do that. I mean, they could run a commercial 5 things in
Yeah, there's not.
recycling.
I actually told them that I had a meeting with them yesterday, or day before yesterday, and I suggested that to them because I was in Dade County when we actually did that.
Right.
We
And
did the 5
what
things.
they could do is actually just like relabel their the canister.
See, I would be more, in agreement with the recycling. Okay, not the bulk. The recycling, you know, like I say, it's tainted, they put more than 5 things in, it's just they pick it up. It's that, and only about 20% or whatever, 18% is recycled anyway. That to be recycling, I would put the bulk, no way. Cause I live over here, once a month, it's not gonna do it for us.
So I wanna make sure I mention a few things. With the bulk pickup, if you were to go to monthly, there is a savings. There's a savings in your disposal costs. There's a savings in the transfer cost. So there is some cost savings associated with it.
For me, it wasn't about the money, it's about the
No, I
cleaning up.
understand.
We
And
are still trying to hold our property value over here. We do have a good thing that we're not in the flood zone, we're like in zone X. We still get that little bit, no, because I'm telling you, I know I live here. It's already ingrained in our minds that we put it out on Sunday night and they're doing that. They flip it, they put it out and stare. I would prefer paying more and I will beat them down. Because no, I know once a month they will never get it because they're used to this now. You're gonna say once a month? No, that stuff will be packed. You couldn't even see. You couldn't even ride through. It's already coming like that. It's okay. Why is it that mine insurance can pick it up and it's, no, don't take everything from us. I mean, let's cut out a party, but keep that bulk trash. I mean, I don't care. Not have a party, anything, but bulk trash, no. And that's not only our area, it's all over the city of North Miami. It's all over districts.
So, at the beginning of the meeting, I did discuss that, next fiscal year, we're gonna have these town halls, February and March, so we can discuss your priorities and make sure that they are in line with what, you know, we're working on the budget. But for now, I still want to get your feedback, so you can either verbally say it, because Indira's here, she can write it down, or you can type it in and it'll populate. But I wanted to, you know, if you can, to save time, because we're not done with the presentation, if you can, you know, verbally say any of your concerns or any interest that you have on the budget that you'd like us to pay attention to, if you could say it, for the group, and Indira will write it down. Yes, ma'am.
Just really quickly, because I've been doing the proposal work on tenants and landlord tenant issues and stuff like that. A lot of the folks that I represented that live in the city have a strong issue with not the quality of service in terms of like the personnel and social services or housing, but in terms of like the wait time, like for assistance or whatever. So it's as if like there's just it's giving short staff, you know. So I don't know if you know that's a priority that you're looking for. If that's like a more
Yeah,
I feel bad saying it.
No, not
it's
at
here.
all, not at all. This is not the first time we're hearing it. We do have, again, we are not back to pre-pandemic numbers when you look at staffing, right? We have 466 full-time, and I forgot how many part-time for this is. 100, but pre-COVID, 2018, 2019, we're at 570 full-time, and like 120.
it was 154 part-time.
154 part-time. So we're not back to where we were, but we're still providing the same level of service, right? So we do have burnout and so on. And by the way, let me just do a selfish plug. We're doing a job fair at the North Miami Library on Friday. We are hiring Every department is hiring. Please let your friends, colleagues know. Anybody you think you should steal from another city, please let us know, and then we'll approach them. But we're looking for, we have some positions available. Police department is hiring. We just hired 5 new police recruits, and they're still hiring. So, just putting that plug in, and yes, we are aware of that, and we're working on it, except the staffing and a question of capacity, because the space also does not allow itself for having additional staff either. So we're looking at flexible ways to make it happen. Yeah, their office is better, yeah.
All right, can I go to the next slide?
So that question was for your poll or nobody?
No, you can say it, and Vera's writing it down. You can either do it on your phone, or you can write it down, so, because I just wanna keep going. So do you have any other questions or comments? We do have money in the budget, Ms. Brown.
Oh,
Christine is here from Parks to nod and say we have money in the budget for Sasso Pool renovations.
What
Can we-
Please, with your sort. Christine, come up front.
Yeah, Ms. Christine Carney, please go up front and confirm to Ms. Brown that she will be able to walk
I
down.
don't know, because the
walk
seniors
down
wanna
the
know why we have to go down to a pool lakes to have to walk in the pool with our arthritis and stuff, when we could just go down to our own pool. You know, access, the locker room, it's horrible down there, and that's the only pool in the city.
You're correct, we're working on it, yes. One of the things that I emailed you back in response to
Yeah.
the location over at Bocola Park, that it's free for seniors, and I had proposed, if there was a price that you would be willing to pay for some of the, like, activities, right? The water aerobics, because some of those things can't always be subsidized, for the full price. So that was one question I posed to you, but yes, for conversation I've had with the manager along with Councilman Pierre French Charles is about accessing the pool, just getting inside to through the building and into the pool. So yes, we are working on it.
Say that again, start.
Yeah, some of the work is now, the ramp into the pool is gonna take a little bit longer, but the access through the doors and thresholds, we're having issues with, just because it's an old building. So yes, so we are working on that. It's gonna start now. The work is starting, we wait until summer camp is over. And the kids are.
Parking around there, handicap parking. Are you gonna have one of those lift chairs and put the people in the pool?
Yes, the lift chairs we actually purchased, so it's on its way. We have to purchase a new
A
one.
hot tub?
Oh, okay. So, did you just say it outside?
I mean, one of those,
Yes, okay, yes, sir.
you know, when you're down there for arthritis, you want a hot water for some more.
So I need a hot water faucet in the bathroom.
Chris,
Yes, sir.
Two terms.
Yes.
The fee for kids is $3 or above now. We need to do something with that, because the kids around there their parents can't afford that. Okay, and that's really cool. Then I see, it seems to me that other folk are occupying the pool more than the rest of us. And that's, I don't understand it.
So during the summer months, we do have camps that go in, not just our camps, but we do have other camps that come into the pool during the week, Monday through Friday. Saturdays and Sundays is open to the public. We are working through, there are some grants that we received with staffing has always been a problem, it's a worldwide problem throughout the world with lifeguards, paying lifeguards and maintaining them. So that plays a role in the capacity that can come into the pool at one time. Because if I only have 4 lifeguards, I can't have as many people as we'd like to have in the pool at the same time. So those things we do have to take into consideration. We did get a grant and the numbers will increase. We are working on hiring more lifeguards, increasing their pay, along with additional some swim lessons, other additional swim lessons, water aerobics instructor to teach classes. So those things will happen, but during the week, it was more for summer camps that came in. Across the county,
The fee, the pool, and the pool.
yes, the pool entry fee, yes.
I really don't, personally, I don't have children, grandchildren, but I really don't think it's that much. I mean, maybe during the summertime, I think it should be free, but everything can't be free. It just can't be. And I understand that, other people may not understand that, but I understand we backpack and do this, we do everything, free lunch, free this, free, we can't, everything can't be free. You just can't give up and just not do something. You can't do it, the city just can't operate it, nobody can operate like that. That's why FEMA budget is a bust. You can't do it. You just can't do it. I understand because, I don't know, this is horrible. I'm thinking about for 65 seniors and older. Is there any way that I'm gonna call my insurance company and see if maybe through our
Yeah.
insurance company that they will be able to
There
maybe
are-
work with you and we got our little, silver sneakers and all
Yeah,
that
I was
benefits that we
gonna
can
ask,
use with that.
Yes.
Because I know down at Ocola Lakes, we just show this and we show our card and we do our.
My brother does it too.
Right, we do our cards. We don't have to do that.
Okay, so
We
Ms.
just share lessons and
Ms.
stuff.
Brown, and then, sorry, I don't think we've got a question, but Ms. Brown, just to say, Christine has been working with the Silver Sneaker Group, and we just signed the agreement, I know, and she's working on everything, but it's gonna offer benefits across the board. But we need to iron out everything to make sure, but yes, that's a very good idea to talk to your health insurance company, because they reimburse you for like gym membership and things like that, so
Go to the gym. I
it
can
should
go
be
to
there. So, hold on, Karen, Ms. Clerk first, and then Karen.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave now, but, for example, for the money that we got for the pool, I went through the budget process to do that, so I made a request, and I don't know if like we really equip our residents to also go talk to their county representatives to fill in some of these gaps that we're talking about, so that's something that in the past I have spoken to, not necessarily the county commissioner, but I've spoken to other entities. Like what he's talking about, it's $3, I mean, I'm not for the here down, but, and I would love, but I also get that, $3 could be a lot depending on how many times a child is going and for what reason, so.
How many kids,
And how many kids are going, so.
Maybe we do a family package deal.
We do.
Do it like that. That's some kind of creative way to do it.
Yeah.
Residents get a little knock off, other people come in and have to pay more. It's too bad.
I have four. And I sit down with the oldest one to the pool. And they came back, they won't let us in, why? She said, because they needed $3, which was here, $1.50, they went up to $2, okay, that's fine. But they had to come back, I sent them with their card, I got their education card. And they would never get in the pool, and they said, oh, you can see my house from the pool. And I had to say $9, $10, I never done it. I went myself just to see. She told me I had to pay $3 just to sit there for the little one to get in the pool. I said, sit there, and I'll give you $3 just to watch my kid, ain't that your job? You know, I was upset, I was highly upset.
Christine will take it.
I was just, anyway.
Yeah, take it. Let me ask my question.
Karen, yes.
Now, to my knowledge, the silver sneaker, I know they can get it to Medicaid or Medicare. Most of the seniors, they have Medicare. So you said you had a contract, you worked on a contract. Is it for those seniors who don't have access to Medicaid or Medicare, or is it if yes, is it gonna be like citywide with the other, the parks has special senior program and then housing has another senior program? Is it senior program wise or?
It's for anyone that it doesn't even have to be a senior citizen. As long as they qualify, it could be that they have other special needs or other needs, right? It's not specific just to seniors, but it goes based on your insurance, on their insurance.
Is it for those who do not have Medicaid or Medicare?
No, silver sneakers, you have to qualify.
Right.
You have to qualify through your insurance for silver sneakers. So your Medicare or Medicaid, if they qualify for that, they just have to apply for silver sneakers then. And then they can use any silver sneakers program across the United States.
So we're doing, yeah, so we're doing one for the gym,
For the gym, and then we'll offer classes, fitness classes through that.
and so on, so that's what, okay. So I'd like to move on, I know there are other people watching us. Okay, so this is my part, we talking about when we had the retreat with the mayor and council and they gave us what their priorities were. So we translated that into the administration priorities. So, you know, what I will be doing and what we'll be holding me accountable for, in the next 6 months to a year after the budget's approved. The first one is efficiency. So I'm gonna be restructuring and reorganizing several departments so that, like, for instance, the neighborhood services department, formerly known as code, right? They now do inspections, certificate of use, BTR, business tax receipt inspections, reoccupancies. You will be going there to get your garage sale permit as opposed to CP&D because they will do it quicker for you and things like that. So I restructured that department to be more like, almost like a little city hall, right? And like T Metro was way back when, and the Net office was way back when, because I used to work for the city of Miami then. So that's what that is. The other department that I'm looking at restructuring, for instance, is I'm merging the budget department with the finance department. We have two departments. Other cities our size have consolidated them, and you have one director and you have an assistant director of budget and one for finance. But at least the departments are talking to each other and removing some redundancies. So that will help us with some savings and costs. And I'm looking at other departments as well to do some of those changes. The other part of the thing that we have to do is when they say ERP, not a lot of people understand what that is, but it's the enterprise resource system. This is the system for our finance, our code, our billing. It's the mother lode knowledge for the city. Unfortunately, the system we have is so outdated. It's discontinued, they can't upgrade it. We needed to upgrade this like 3 years ago, and we're behind. So that will help us a lot because it will help us with, for instance, departments don't talk to each other right now. So you could be going to, you're dealing with the building department with a permit on something, but the code department already cited you on it. The departments don't talk to each other because the system that we have is so outdated, it doesn't communicate. So then that talks about the waste in terms of I have to talk to this department, this person, and so on. Whereas the automation of the system would help us a lot and would help us catch where we're doubling up on the expenses that we shouldn't be and where we should be saving. The other one that I'm going to be doing is the customer relationship management system. It's a 311 system. So we can bring back my Nomi app so we can actually have complaints done through the process. You either do it via email, through the system, through your app, or you call it general number, but at least we have it. And now the data is gathered so we know, very important for me. Next year, here's an example. When I got here in March, every complaint I got, everybody wanted roundabouts because the speeding, right? Everybody wanted a speed table and so on and so forth. So that is a priority for the whole community because everybody is asking for it. As a result, one, the chief worked on, and you saw, I don't know if you guys have gotten any speeding tickets. Please, I apologize, but please don't speed in the city. But right now, the police is citing people who are zooming through our city. We've also applied for a grant to get a complete street master plan for the whole city in terms of traffic calming devices. And now we can take that, once we're done with it, we can take it to Miami-Dade County so they can approve the whole master plan so we can put in speed tables. Because that's what I've been hearing in terms of complaints. So the CRM system is going to help us with that, right? All the complaints, if it's Waste Pro. So by the time the Waste Pro contract comes 5 years from now, if all the complaints, 99% of my complaints have been Waste Pro, then we have the result of what we need so we can negotiate or not negotiate with them and decide what we're gonna do. So that system is extremely, extremely important and we need to, set it up. The second one is the revenue generating activities. So we're looking at ways and initiatives to get us some savings, like I said, apart from the reorganizing of some of the departments. We're looking at other things. Some of our impact fees, some of our other fees have not been updated. I found out since 2010. Now, yes. Now, state statutes for instance, the state impact fees say it's like every 3 to 5 years you're supposed to review it and update it. We haven't done that. So we're going to be doing that as well. We're going to be looking at everything. We're not going to increase impact fees astronomically or anything. It's going to be incremental, but at least we know where the resources are coming and the funds are coming, so it can cover the cost of the services that we need to provide. We're applying for grants. Now we have a full-time grant administrator and we have a grant consultant that has been working on all the grants that we can apply for. We're also gonna be hiring a company to help us get corporate sponsorships for all these signature city events. Like the Winter National, I keep calling it Thanksgiving Day Parade, but it's the Winter National Parade, right? So it should be like the TD Bank Winter National Parade, right? Where they pay for the whole thing. So we're gonna be hiring a company to do that, to get us the corporate sponsorship, so we won't have those in our general fund. We just recently negotiated with the CRA. The city contributes 95% of its increment, so we showed that to you at the beginning of the slide, where we made our gross property tax revenue is 36 million, but we give $12.1 million to the CRA. So we renegotiated to make it a lesser contribution on the city side. And now the county is going to be contributing to the CRA, because before the county was not contributing as much. Because of that, we're going to have a little bit savings on our end, so that we can now contribute towards the actual initiatives and activities we need to be funding in the city. All right. We need to acquire, we're gonna be acquiring the Scott Galvin Center. I know you know, we rented it and with option to buy. We're gonna try to buy it right away. We're getting some funds from the CRA. We have some savings that we have from sale of other land. That alone, buying it outright, will save us about $1.4 million out of our general fund. Because we're paying rent, property insurance, and so on. So that's gonna also save us.
What about that, Red Gardens?
That is leased out and we are collecting. Yes, we are collecting. This year, I can, you know, the rent is they're paying us like, is it 304? It's 304,000, but we're collecting 320,000 from them. Plus, this year is the first year that we get to now look at the receipts, because it triggers where we share some of the revenue. It's a small percentage of whatever they've been collecting. So this is the first year now that we'll be able to do that, to check. But the rent is covering the sublease.
I think this is questions after the.
Yeah. If you don't mind. The other thing is, again, like I said, we said that earlier, aggressively pursuing outstanding receivable, people that owe us the water, you know, all these water bills. We're gonna be really, and that money for the water bill doesn't go to the general fund, but it goes into the water fund. And we need that money to do the infrastructure upgrades and everything. So no matter what, we still need to do it so we can collect our monies for that. In terms of economic development and redevelopment, we talked about, again, downtown, redevelopment of downtown. Northwest 7th Avenue is a huge priority. Actually, it is in the interlocal agreement that the County Commissioner, Marlene Bastien, Commissioner Charles supported when we updated the interlocal. There's going to be a percentage of the funds, the county funds, that have to go to 7th Avenue redevelopment. I don't know if anybody realizes, but so for the city boundaries, we're 119th to 143rd. South of us, south of 119th and north of 143rd, Miami-Dade County has their own CR. It's called the Northwest 7th Avenue CR. So Commissioner Bastien is very excited to activate it and also to try to make a unified look into the redevelopment of the whole board. That's within her district too. Yeah. Yes, but now they're looking at, you know, upzoning, and actually this weekend, right, Councilman, Councilman Charles and the city staff is going to the ICSC conference this weekend. It's the International Council of Shopping Centers. This is how we got Planet Fitness in our downtown Miami, North Miami. You get every single store, you know. I said to the councilman, no drive-through except Chick-fil-A on 7th. But, right?
You need a food.
No, I know, Aldi's, this is where he will meet them. Yeah, so that's where he's going to be. He's gonna be meeting with hotel operators, restaurants, franchises, grocery stores, all of that. So that's where they go. And I think the Commissioner Bastien's office is also going, but it's this weekend. Okay, capital improvements, again.
You got on some of that's showable. Making money is working. That's hard, but that's the truth. And what, tell me some more.
So no more drive-throughs except Chick-fil-A.
Some of the company when you make money on the Burger King.
In terms of priorities, again, based on what I heard and what I've seen, the capital improvements, again, the water plant, the infrastructure, the AMI, upgrading the parks, all our parks facilities are in disrepair. And we need to get them back to
Some
normal.
new equipment, because I know I said some stuff with Christine concerning, you know, the equipment outside, you know, that you work on it, program, sit around.
But is that the exercise stuff we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like, is that the walking path we're talking about? Yes, we have money through impact fees for that.
The walking needs to be that rubber stuff, not the concrete, because it's killing us.
So Ms. Brown has volunteered to be on the selection committee to test the equipment.
She can call me.
Okay.
And
And again, all public facilities, you know, I know that yesterday was the first council meeting back since recess. And we did, you know, Public Works did a great job. We pressure cleaned the windows, removed the mold, because we have mold on the windows. We put a nice coat of paint, upgraded the lights, and when you walk in, it's brighter and nicer. But it doesn't, you know, negate the fact that the city hall is in complete disrepair and we need to, you know, get a new one, figure out what we're gonna do. So that's also an issue because we're paying money, like even the police department, you saw in the capital plan, we have to spend about $270,000 this year on, for the police department for, I think, the AC chillers and the roof. So all these buildings are in such disrepair. If you look at the amount of money we're spending every year for maintenance and fixing and so on, we could have already gotten another building. So those are things that we're gonna need to work on together and get it done. So in terms of the grants, if you could flip to the next one. So these are all the grants. This is how we prioritize the grants that we're focusing on to get. Obviously for resilience, for public works and utilities, we got an additional $600,000 from the state. Senator Sherman Jones mentioned that at the council meeting yesterday. So again, this is for the septic to sewer because also for the whole infrastructure system to properly work, we will need to have everything done without removing the septic to sewer. Right-of-way improvement projects. Under economic development, we're applying for grants for workforce development. And that's extremely important because what we're looking at right now, we're not the only city that's starving for employees. Okay, every city is looking for that. We're now even creating, apprentice programs to get people at the beginning to start them. So we have apprentice program, I think in the neighborhood services, I don't know, and you don't have apprentice program, you have something else. PD, you still need 911 operators? You see, PD needs 911 operators, right? You need 280 hours, 240 hours to be certified to be a 911 operator. We're willing to, if you find somebody who has the aptitude, we're willing to pay for them to go through the process and that commitment because we need the bodies. So we're applying for grants for workforce development, Parks and Rec for all the community programming, STEM program, after school program. We're funding this year $40,000 for the North Miami Library to offer computer programs for the kids, adults, and seniors year round. So this is something that Parks, the library had a portion of the funds. This time they have the full amount to cover all of them. The mobility plan, we're talking about the transportation planning, the infrastructure. By the way, the new trolleys have arrived. We will be sending out a notice to you all when we do the ribbon cutting, but we have now these beautiful new trolleys like every other city. Those are paid for by your penny transportation tax dollars and also the CRA.
They're gonna be painted on color.
Yeah, except one of them has to say CRA on it.
But how does the community know about all of this?
The
How do
community-
they know?
Because I just said it.
Yeah, I know, but.
Again,
we hear.
I understand, but I am saying it right now, correct?
Every time we got the public records, a public, notice a couple of weeks ago, saying
Yeah.
it's coming.
Yeah.
We sent out the one for freebie, we also stated that.
The trolleys are coming, and this is something that was in order for like over a year, and they
I'm
finally.
saying that knowing the community that we have, we live in, is that me, I know about freebie randomly, not everybody know about it. So how do the regular people know about all of this? We have great things going on, but most of the people don't know.
The trolley riders, they gonna know.
Yeah.
They know the schedule, they know when they're coming, they know, because that's the way to get around.
How do we get our communication team out there?
We will address that later on, because what you're talking about is reaching out to the
Right.
public, and we're working on that with centralizing the way we communicate. Like I just said, Waste Pro will now be using Everbridge to communicate with the residents.
Right.
So we're streamlining and making our notifications to the community, strategic, so that people know what it is and they have it. So we're gonna make sure that we're gonna go back to, again, pre-pandemic phases, how we used to communicate with people, but I wanna make sure that I'm strategic. And
How many
also, I like
comments?
to
Excuse me, how many comments?
four. And I wanna make sure, if you get a notice from the city, let us know how you got the information, because that helps us also track where the information is coming from and how we need to streamline it. So please let me know.
Radio's good.
Okay,
You're gonna use it.
so,
The old people.
You got that.
yes, we are using radio.
Now,
So-
the trolley is, let me ask you a question, the trolley
Yes, sir.
is, gonna go the same route as the bus, what's the name of it?
The shuttle bus,
Right.
yes, it's gonna go that route, but actually, we're looking at,
There's one small modification, but I don't have the details.
yeah, but we're actually also looking at crossing municipality boundaries, right? Because I don't know if you know that, like North Miami Beach, their trolley, it goes to FIU, but FIU's in the city of North Miami.
Right.
Right? So you have to do an agreement and with Miami-Dade County and the crossing municipalities to allow for this to happen. So we're working on that. And that was actually at the recommendation of the mayor, because, he was like, I think Miami Gardens, their trolley goes, but if you wanted to go further, you still need to get an agreement, so they know. So we're working on that. Okay, so I did the mobility plan. Sustainability and environment, again, we're looking at, we had a whole bunch of sargassum and algae issues. Miraculously, it all disappeared, the whole 2 million tons of algae, but we're still working on it because we know this is gonna keep happening because of, global warming. We're looking at electric vehicle charging stations. We're looking at these are all grants that we're applying for to fund all these projects. Accessible housing and social services, again, the food pantry, we need more money for the food pantry, we need more money for the pantry itself. We need to actually have a proper pantry that's set up with a walk-in fridge, freezer to conserve perishables.
Well, have you all
So-
tried to get the food from Buckley's? Because they do a lot.
It doesn't, yeah, I know, but the problem is when we do receive it, we need to do a quick turnaround and get rid of it, or else it's gonna go back. So, because the pantry that we're using, the location we're using is not equipped for that kind of stuff. So we need to spend money on that and also, other things. And then again, public safety. We're getting grants. I think we applied for a COPS grant, a federal grant that would pay for 3 police officers. We're gonna know, you said like beginning of September? Okay, beginning of September. And we're also applying for, money, grants for other equipment that they can get us for the police department. So, excited with it. Yes, go ahead. That has nothing to do with outreach and communication.
About revenues,
Uh-huh.
there's a thing about revenues, because
Okay.
I've seen that North Miami, just like downtown, they use the parking lots, the parking spaces, but we're not using it.
It is in the works. It is in the works. The problem is we're gonna have to do a serious education to make sure that everybody understands that it's gonna be metered parking and so the part about communication and outreach, that's gonna be key
I
before we
did
do it.
communication now, which I didn't.
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm letting you know, it is in the works, and our economic development department is working on it. We already have a parking study. Yes, sir.
If I clearly understand, parents want to lead us all over.
I'm not saying all over, the employee spot would stay the same, but by the bank, the street, the 125th downtown North Miami, it's free, it cannot be free, if we need money, we cannot let anybody, and then they come and park and then go.
What we're gonna do.
I go to downtown Miami, I pay, why not?
No, I know, and I agree with you. We're gonna do that, and also all these apartment complexes, the new projects that are being built, they all have on-street parking, right? That they have to build on-street parking.
Right.
All those, we're gonna also
Right.
get within the meter, but we're gonna have to come up with a system for the resident who lives in that apartment to have a parking pass or something. So it's not as easy, it's not as easy
They don't need
as,
a parking pass.
But-
They stay where they stay, they have a parking pass already.
Yeah.
They come downtown, they gotta pay, just like downtown.
well, I just wanted to wrap up by, bringing to your attention again that we have, tomorrow we will be at the Scott Galvin Center. Monday, we'll be at the Griffin Community Center, and Tuesday, August 29th. And our budget public hearing dates are September 5th, day after Labor Day, and September 19th at 6 o'clock. Please let your neighbors know. Please, you don't have to wait for that. You can also email me, rcamo@northmiamifl.gov, or I use the quicker one, engageknowme@northmiamifl.gov. It comes directly to me. So please email me your questions or concerns, and please tell your other neighbors. And most importantly, we really need to know from you about the billing, the quarterly to monthly billing proposal, because that's gonna affect, how we work and how we contact the county and so on.
One more thing before I'm done, sorry. The hotspot is a really great thing that you guys are doing. And I'm a resident, I have a daughter, I have neighbors, they use the hotspot at the library. Now I have to return those hotspots to Mr. because no more funding.
It was covered by ARPA.
Is there any way that you guys can come back with this?
Not right now, because right now, when you look at the priorities, again, the dollars are finite, right? We're applying for a grant, but the need was actually having computers, STEM classes for children, adults, and seniors. That was the need, to have that available. That's
How did we find
$40,000.
out about those needs? Was there a survey or something?
The what?
Was there a survey for?
The need?
Yeah, for.
You mean how many times that the residents have asked the director of Basil, why can't you have this program in my office? In the library? Yeah. So, but just to say, we are looking at every grant opportunity that was funded by ARPA money, and there's no more. So, and a very important, I just want to make sure, last comment again, is the revenues that you see, we did a very conservative, but it also includes the $2.5 million reserve. As you recall, this was waived the last 4 years. The council has waived the $5 million reserve that we're supposed to have. So 2.5 is the beginning, and next year I hope it's 5 million, so we can actually start building a healthy reserve for
What
our
about
backup.
our debt? I mean, how we are, I saw 1% sitting in the thing about debt.
The pension,
Our 2010 pension obligation that we pay back, that is our debt service.
yeah.
No, we were running at a deficit. Remember, they
No,
said-
the ARPA money was used to cover the deficit.
So we are in the black?
You're in the black today, yes. Okay. When I say today, I mean you're black, great.
I never take anything.
But we will be in the, we're growing into the black. We're a light shade of black.
Okay, great.
All right.
This is great.
No.
Milk white.
Light shade of black. Light shade of black. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Again, I'm here if you have any other questions you want to ask me one-on-one, but if not, we'll see you. And let your neighbors know, we'll be at the Scott Galvin Center tomorrow. Also, this is gonna be live streamed, so if you cannot come, you can watch it. It's gonna be live streamed, right? Like today was a Zoom, tomorrow will be live stream, and you can watch it
On channel 77?
channel 77 and on the, what do you call it, the computer? Like you do, it's YouTube. It's a YouTube.
And then
Yeah.
everyone will be able to vote on those.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
that'd be good.
okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.